Hi everyone, it's me, Renata from the eSpot, and I have now been in Finland for 2 weeks. So I wanted to give you guys a bit of like an update, rundown, a little glimpse into what my daily life has been like for these first 2 weeks here in the country, and give you some of my like observations and experiences that I've had so far. But first, I would like to welcome you all to click the link in the description of this video. It will take you to a Google form where you can ask me questions or give me comments. I've just been kind of freewheeling this whole thing with the videos, just doing like whatever, trying tortilla chips and, silly stuff, updates, video blogs, whatever. But I'm interested to hear from you guys. What questions do you have for me? What comments do you have? Do you have any suggestions, stuff that you would like to see me cover on the channel? I would really like to hear your thoughts, and I think the Google form might be an easier way to kind of manage that other than like the comments in the comment section on the video. It can be totally anonymous. You don't have to tell me who you are, where you're from, anything about you. You can just leave a comment or a question. If you want to put your name, you can. I will respect your privacy though, and I won't give you a shout out necessarily. But if you do want to, give me your name, that is fine. I do really like making the personal connections with all of you guys. So the 2 weeks since I've been in Finland have been interesting. They have been challenging, they've been exciting, tiring, exhausting, fun. Um, Today I went for a walk for the first time, like a leisurely walk, a walk where I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't going anywhere, I wasn't running an errand, I wasn't going to a specific event. I was just walking. I was just walking. And it was so nice. The weather was so nice. And the trees have changed here. And the wind is blowing some of the leaves off of the trees. So, like, it is a fleeting moment with fall, but it was just a beautiful, beautiful day. And really nice to finally feel a little bit more settled. So, yeah, in the past 2 weeks, I have been doing a lot of like settling myself and a lot of kind of like important bureaucratic sort of things. I've met with my professors here at the university. I've gone to a student event to meet people. I have had a friend come and visit me and stay in my apartment for a few days. I took Cookie to the vet. So she has a vet now here in Finland. And this was actually really important because I will talk about this in a bigger video about what it's like to travel with a pet, but she had injured her eye before our trip. So I really needed to get her to see a vet here who was a veterinary ophthalmologist to look at her eye. So I got that settled, which was very important to me. Tomorrow I'm going to the DVV, which is like the you could call it like the census department, I guess. They kind of like register you as a resident, and they give you all kinds of important stuff like your Finnish ID number, which I don't have, which has prevented me from doing all kinds of very important stuff. Um, I have my first class this week, and yeah, it's just been like a lot of stuff, a lot of important stuff, um, and a little bit of fun stuff, mixed in. So, one of the things I've been doing to kind of follow up on the last video, or maybe not the last video, but a video that I had done in the past about my couch and getting a new couch. Um, I'm on it right now. It's very comfortable. My friend who came and visited said that it was very good for sleeping. I actually have it out as like a bed still because my friend also helped me put the legs onto my actual mattress. And it's too high for Cookie to jump on because her legs are really tiny. So she can't jump onto the bed. So I have to have this out and like next to the bed so that she can jump up onto the couch and then jump up onto the bed. So I need to get that figured out. I did buy like an ottoman, but it's too tall for her to jump onto. So yeah, everything is a work in progress. But I've been doing more furnishing of the apartment because like I came here with 3 suitcases, like enough clothes for basically 2 weeks without doing laundry. I'll have another video about laundry. But enough for like 2 weeks of clothes and the most important stuff, my computer, minimal electronics, but of course I have US cords for everything. So there's just been like a lot of stuff, that I've needed to get. And obviously, there's like, what we would call a big box store in the US, an equivalent of like Target called Talkmoney, which funny enough actually has a Target in their logo. That was interesting. I totally thought this was like the Finnish version of Target, but apparently it's unaffiliated. Um, So there's, these large stores where you can kind of get, household items and whatnot. Finland is a very like modern country. You really can get everything here. Um, but what I have really been enjoying a lot is the secondhand stores. There are so many secondhand stores here. I've always been a thrifty person. It's just the way I was raised, the way I grew up. I love deals. I love finding unique things. I love reusing things. I love vintage things. I love old things. So I've been really excited to check out all of these secondhand stores. And so there seems to be kind of like, just like in the US, there's all kinds of different secondhand stores. So far, I have experienced a pretty decent range of these secondhands. They have these like larger recycling centers, which I would say are more akin to maybe like a Goodwill or Unique or Salvation Army, depending on what region you're in. These kind of like larger stores where they sort of have like with like donations based stuff. Maybe not like the fanciest stuff that you'd find, but cheap secondhand merchandise. So there's stores like that, kind of like a department store, like a secondhand department store. There's also smaller kind of like boutique-y secondhands um, that are sort of, a little bit maybe nicer stuff, a little bit more selected stuff, a little bit more expensive than like these larger recycling centers, but really good merchandise. There's one here in the city center called Oof, OOFF, Oof. And I really like that one. And every time I'm downtown, I sort of pop in because it changes all the time. And that goes for all of them and really any secondhand store for that matter. But it's really kind of fun to, just pop in. Maybe I'm looking for something in particular, maybe not, but just checking out the merchandise and what they have. And I've bought quite a bit of clothes there already. Um, and then they have these other stores, which I feel like we would probably call a consignment store or a flea market. It's somewhere between consignment and flea market because I normally think of a flea market as like a place where the seller has a table and is present and like you give the money directly to the seller at their table. And these places have tables for the sellers where all of that individual seller's items are together. Um, it's somewhere between a table and a booth, actually. They call it a table. Um, and then it has like but here the seller is not there. The seller like rents the table and then they put out all their stuff. And then the sticker has the seller's like identifying number, their table number. And then you can shop hundreds, literally hundreds of these tables, and then you just take it all to the one cash point and then they ring it up and they put in like whose number it was so that they can get their money for your purchase. I am wild about this style of store. I love it. The only thing about this style of store is that, like, it's a little bit more of a challenge to shop in. So, like, the boutique-y kind of stores and the recycling center stores, they're gonna have women's clothes in one place, they're gonna have home appliances in the other, they're gonna have dishes in the other. But these stores are, like, mixed. So you might have one table, and maybe all that table has is books and media. You might have another table where they've got kids' clothes and jackets and toys and shoes and Moomin cups, which is just everywhere. Everywhere you can get these secondhand Moomin cups. And I thought, oh, secondhand Moomin cup. I bet they're going to be, cheap. They are not. They are expensive. They are like collector's items here. So I'm like, oh my God, why does this cup have a security tag on it? Oh, because it's like 35 euros for a mug? Okay, sure. Um, but I really love these. Like I said, they're a bit more of a challenge to shop in because you kind of have to look a little bit closer. Like you can glance and you can see, okay, well, it's children's clothes and I'm not a child and I don't have children. So I can sort of bump past that one. But it's possible that, you might be walking past a booth that has something that you would really like, but you aren't stopping to check. So it's kind of fun to go to these stores too, in particular, because you might have walked past that table on a different trip, but it was full of stuff. Whereas a week later, it's sold down a little bit, and you can see better like some other stuff that they have, and find a nice item. And of course, there's also the feeling of going to the store and seeing like, oh, that thing that I really liked the last time I was here, it's still here. So that's a sign that I have to get it. So I've really enjoyed going to these secondhands, and the prices are really good. Sometimes the prices aren't actually that much cheaper than if you were to go and buy it new. Um, but that's okay because it's not necessarily the point of it's new or it's old or it's cheap or it's expensive. It's also just about like finding things that kind of like match my style. Like I'm in my 30s. I've been living on my own for a long time. The stuff I had in the US, like I had collected it over many, many years, and a lot of things had memories, or things that you know maybe matched a certain time in my life, a certain thing I was into. Like I had a lot of stuff with skulls on it from when I was really into bioarchaeology, when I thought that I wanted to be an archaeologist. So like now it's kind of like starting over and getting to really choose things from scratch. So it's been nice to kind of have like a bit of a mix of some new stuff and some new to me stuff. So I really love the secondhand shopping here. And like I said, I had been buying clothes because I did come with clothes. In fact, when I came to Finland in February, I I was here in winter when it was very, very cold. And I knew that the clothes that I brought with me in February were good for February. So like I came with at least, a set of clothing that would keep me warm, keep me dry when I was here in winter. But it's kind of like an intermediate period right now with the weather. And of course, when I left the United States, I was in Maryland, I was in the South, and it was like literally 80 degrees the day that I left. It was hot. I was like sweating when I was outside. So I have needed to buy things while I was here, things that were warmer, but not necessarily um, like winter wear. And something that I've been dealing with a lot is like appropriately dressing for the weather. And I'm originally from the north, so it's not like this is like a new concept to me. I am used to winter and seasons and distinct seasons, but like I said, I don't have a lot of stuff. So one of the things I had a huge collection of in the United States was jackets for every kind of weather, for warm, wet weather, for cool, dry weather, for cool, wet weather, for those slushy days where it's, like freezing and you need to stay dry. Like I had a coat for everything. And I only came with a raincoat, like a long like trench coat raincoat, and I came with a really fucking warm winter coat, like a past my knee length, down feather fill winter coat, like no joke winter coat. And those two coats are great for that kind of weather, but I've found that most of the time my like trench coat was maybe not warm enough and my winter coat was like way too warm for the current conditions. So I was like, I really need to get an intermediate coat. So I did get kind of like a polyfill puffer jacket that's, you know, like waist length. So it's not so hot, but it's also a little bit waterproof too because it's kind of been raining a lot. And it's been like, there was one night where I think we hit freezing and went below freezing, but it's been like in the single digits, like up to like 10 degrees Celsius. So like the 40s, low 50s in the daytime in Fahrenheit. So I mean, it's not been freezing literally, but it's been pretty cold when you go outside. Like your ears get cold, your fingers get cold, your nose gets cold. You need to wear a hat. But the thing about dressing for the weather here is it might be cold the moment that you step outside. Like you might be like, ooh, chill runs through you. But then you're walking, you have to run to catch your bus because you're going to miss it if you don't. Maybe you go and you do some shopping and you're carrying like your groceries all of a sudden, or you know, maybe when you go into the grocery store or wherever it is that you're shopping at, the secondhand store for example, it's warm, like really warm, like it is really warm everywhere when you go inside. The moment you go inside, you just start to like drip sweat if you don't take your jacket off. Everywhere is so warm. Every time I come into my apartment from outside, I'm like, oh my God, it's so warm in here. Ah! And I will do another video about this thing called district heating. So the first few days I was here, I actually had the heat on really low because I thought that it was like run by electric, and it's apparently not run by electric. So I was like really concerned about, you know, how hot it was in the apartment. So I made it really, really cold. But I think I figured out the heating in here. But yeah, everywhere I go, it's like, oh my God, like I feel like I'm sweating all the time. I feel like I'm sweating as much as I was sweating in the summertime in the South. Like even when I'm outside, like maybe my fingertips are cold, maybe my nose is cold, but like I'm sweating my ass off underneath the jacket and the layers and everything. So it's kind of like you can't dress yourself for the level of warm that you have to be when you're standing doing nothing. You have to like dress yourself for the amount of activity that you're going to be doing when you're outside, and you need to be able to remove enough layers when you go inside that you're not going to be overheating. So it's like really quite a balance, and like I said, with the limited like wardrobe that I have right now, it's, you know, it's one of those like obstacles that I have to get over. And maybe it's not something that you get over. I mean, maybe it's just like a fact of life that like, yeah, it's going to be cold and parts of you will be cold, but the rest of you is going to be sweating underneath the jacket. Maybe that's just it. Um, but it is getting colder. It is getting darker. I have started taking vitamin D pills, and I am hoping that that will help me. I've also started taking melatonin to help me sleep. Interestingly, the over the counter milligrams for melatonin here, it's like extremely low. I'll do another video about over the counter medications because it's so different from the US. So I'm trying to like get my supplements in order so that I can be ready for the darkness. Like when my friend was visiting, there were a few moments that really made them laugh. One of them was when it was like, I don't know, 4 p.m. And I'm like, oh, geez, it's really dark today, isn't it? And they just started laughing. Like, oh, just wait. Like, there's going to be days where you basically don't see the sun, where the sun is up for 3 hours maximum. And those days are not far from us at the moment. So I do have to prepare myself for that. And another funny moment that I'll tell you about before I finish out this video is that I had bought a tube of mustard. I love mustard. Okay, I lived in Poland for a long time, and I loved mustard before I went to Poland, but I lived there for a long time, and Polish people also really like mustard. There's a lot of amazing varieties of mustard in Poland, really good mustard companies, like good mustard. I love mustard. And I know that Finnish people like mustard too. So I just bought like a random mustard, and it said mild on the packaging, and I thought that's a good place to start with the mild one. And then I ate this mustard with like some potatoes and chicken nuggets, and I was like, whoo, this is spicy. Like it's got a kick to it. Like my nose was almost starting to run. Like I checked to see if it had horseradish in it because it was like really spicy. And I'm like, damn, like if this is mild, what's the like bold mustard taste like? The bold mustard must make you cry if this is the mild mustard. So when my friend came over, we were eating a meal and they used some mustard, and they used like a very little bit of mustard. And we got to talking about my like, wow, this mustard's so spicy thing. And it turned out that typically they use mustard like a bit more sparingly. Um, like they don't really use mustard as like the primary dipping sauce. But like I was using like a half a teaspoon of mustard like per chicken nugget. Like I was used like it was barbecue sauce, like it was ketchup. Like I was like scooping the mustard. So I was actually eating an insane amount of mustard, according to my friend. So that is why I was so like, oh my God, the mustard is so spicy. Because since then, I have used the mustard with like a little bit, like I, you know, just tap it in instead of like scooping it in. And it's a lot more mild in that way. So I'm going to do a mustard video. So if you made it this far to the end, leave your suggestions for mustard. What mustard should I try? What's your favorite mustard? What's the strongest mustard? And I'm going to do like a hot ones video trying Finnish mustard and seeing like how intense can I get the Finnish mustard for my palate. So that will be all for this video. I've already run a little bit long, but like I had said at the beginning, please follow the link in the description. Give me your comments, give me your questions. I don't know how long it will be before I can answer the questions. Like I want to wait until there's like enough questions where I can do a whole question and answer video and just, answer, all of your questions. I'm sure you guys have really interesting stuff to ask me, things that maybe I wouldn't have considered to bring up on the channel, maybe things I've mentioned in other videos, but maybe you didn't watch that video, so I don't mind repeating myself. If there's something you want to know, just go ahead and click the link and ask me. I also don't know how long it will take me to like take your suggestions. So if you leave a suggestion and I don't have a video about that in 2 weeks, like just wait. I'm sure in time I will address the topic that you are interested in. I do want to make frequent videos, as frequent as my schedule allows. Um, I also, like I said previously, I'm going to get a better lighting setup. I think this one looks like pretty okay, but I'm actually using my cell phone flashlight. So not ideal. It is kind of blinding me. I am definitely seeing spots, which means it is time to end this video. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your suggestions and your support and everything. Bye.